Hello again, my name's Joy, and I'm here with the students. So you just don't hear from us why we think Cal's awesome, you get to hear it from them, okay? So we have a few questions prepared, and the majority of the time will just be open Q&A. So you guys get to ask your questions that you've been dying and holding back for the last hour and a half, okay? So first we're gonna go ahead and have them each give an introduction of themselves. And we'll start on this end closest to me with Katie. So Katie, if you can, well, this is Katie. You tell them where you did your undergrad, what department you're in, and your capstone project.
Okay, so hi guys, I'm Katie. I did my undergrad at Rutgers University. I am a Bio-E, and my capstone project is making an adhesive patch and fetal surgery device for a condition called IPROM.
Hi guys, my name is Tiffany. I did my undergrad also here at Berkeley. I'm in the ME department, and my capstone project is designing a wearable animatronic costume.
So hi, I'm Noel. So I did my undergrad at UC Irvine, and I'm also in Katie's capstone project, so we're the adhesive patch team.
Hi, I'm Jay. I'm in the EECS program. I also did my undergrad in Berkeley, and my capstone project is predicting bad patents.
Okay, so we have a little bit of array of the types of students that are in the MEng program. So the next question is, why did you choose Cal? Like, what about Cal attracted you here? So Tiffany, if you want to answer first, and then Katie.
So like I mentioned, I did my undergrad right here. I think the fact that I've been here for so long, that was a pretty big factor. I kind of know the area well. I have friends around here. I kind of know how to navigate my way around campus here, and also like the resources that were available to me. Also, like, you know, Berkeley is always like really well rounded when it comes to engineering. I knew like all the resources that I would have when I came here, and I also knew like some of the professors that I'd be working with too. So that was definitely my deciding factor.
So mine was a little different. So probably like many of you now, you're probably deciding on PhD programs and other master's programs. That was my boat. So at visit day, I was kind of freaking out, like I didn't know what I wanted to do. But ultimately down the line, I figured out PhD was not for me. It is for some of you people, but that was not my goal in life. And then the other master's programs I was really weighing into, I really had to ask myself, like, what would I learn there that I couldn't get from the other universities? And then the bottom line ended up being that Berkeley is one of the best public schools in our country. They have a great networking program, and this master's in engineering program is very unique, that you get the industrial and business side as well as your technical experience.
Okay, thanks. So going into that a little bit more, let's talk about some capstone projects. Noel, if you could just give us a highlight of your capstone project so far.
So I'm working on the adhesive patch project. So currently we're targeting an unmet medical need in fetal surgery. So technology has gone so far right now that you're able to know like if a baby is going to be born with a disability, but surgeons avoid this procedure called fetal surgery because it's too dangerous. So when you do the surgery, you make a hole on the sac that holds the baby, and post-surgery this risks the sac actually bursting, so the baby could actually die from this procedure. So what we're doing is an implantable patch. So we're essentially just sealing the hole after the surgery, which will prevent this condition, as Katie mentioned, called IPROM.
And what's been the most exciting part of it so far, whether working with your team or the project itself?
I think the project itself, because I came in with not that much experience in the field, and this is collaborating with the material science department, and I'm a Bio-E. So I got to learn a lot of material science aspects, especially like now I'm doing polymer synthesis, which is something Bio-Es tend to not really do.
Cool. And same question for Jay. Just go a little bit brief introduction of your capstone project. What's been the most exciting thing so far?
So basically, in the last 2 years, more than $20 billion have been spent on unnecessary patent litigation. And a lot of those litigations could have been avoided by potential investors Googling and having the right tool to search if their patent, if there's a patent similar to the patent that they're submitting. So what we're doing is we're creating a tool using machine learning algorithms to tell potential investors, hey, there is 56% chance that your patent will be litigated in the patent litigation process. So you might want to change up this part, this part, this part. And that's what we're doing with machine learning algorithm. We're training a model, feeding a bunch of patent data from the past and helping potential investors avoid unnecessary litigations. And that ultimately also helps the United States Patent and Trademark Office because they don't have to go through unnecessary files and litigations as well.
Okay. So next question is for Tiffany. What has been your favorite course here at Cal and why?
So for those who are in product design, this is a really good course. So just take note of it. It's called ME292C. The title is, I believe, Human-Centered Design Methods. This course I really liked because it was definitely a course that helped me prepare for my capstone. So I took it last fall actually. So that's kind of when your capstone project starts. So it was like a lot of the design methods that we learned, they really helped in generating ideas for how we wanted to carry out our capstone project and to kind of come up with deliverables that we wanted to do for the next semester. It definitely got me gave me more experience and learning more about the design process, especially because as an undergrad, I actually didn't study mechanical engineering. I actually did chemical engineering, so a lot of this is really new to me. So I think this is a really good intro for someone who wanted to learn more about this kind of study. So, yeah.
Cool. And same question for Katie. Favorite course and why?
My favorite course I'm currently taking right now, it's called Bringing Medical Devices to Market. And it's exactly what the title is. We're learning about the different FDA regulations, all the paperwork you have to do to bring your medical device to market. And I think that's interesting because that's what I want to do later on.
Next question is, what's one piece of advice that you wish you knew before joining the program? So this question is for Jay and then Katie.
So one piece of advice that I wish I received was to take boot camp really, really seriously. Boot camp is only 2 weeks, so it's really fast. So for me, I'm kind of introverted, so I don't like to participate that much. But by the time I got used to it and I felt comfortable participating, the boot camp was over because it's only it's only 2 weeks, right? But you're being taught by literally top of the top professors and who really knows business, who really has experience in startups, dealing with startups and big corporations. So I would really and these classes are 40 people only, so 30 or 40 people. So you're not getting that much value if you're not participating, if you're not taking reading materials really seriously. So start early, prepare for those case studies, and be ready to participate. That's my, I think if I got that advice, I would have gotten more out of the program.
My piece of advice is very similar. Start networking as soon as possible. Berkeley has a vast array of professors that you're going to come across, even students who've had work experience beforehand that could help you land a job later on. So making those friends at boot camp, like Jay said, that are going to change the way that your MN program experience is, future and online.
Nice. So next question is about housing, because when you come to Cal, housing, it's crazy. Let's be honest. So for Noel, how did you find your housing?
So for me, I think I got really lucky in the sense that I went to UC Irvine, and one day I went to the Commons to go eat, and I met these two guys from Berkeley. So I talked to them for 20 minutes, we ate together, and then we just went our own ways. And then I made friends with them on Facebook that same day. And then Irvine, it's a quarter system, so we end really late in the summer, so I didn't really get a summer vacation. So everyone already had housing when I was still searching. So I Facebooked one of these guys, and I was like, do you know anyone that has housing? And then he's like, just come live with us. And I'm paying I'm probably paying the least amount of rent compared to any of my friends right now.
So make friends.
Yeah. And then also, if you look on Facebook, there's a lot of housing. There's a lot of Berkeley housing where students post their if they have a vacancy in their apartments. I think that's a really good way because you could actually see that they're real people and it's not a scam or anything.
Okay, and same question for Tiffany. How did you find housing?
So my story is a little different from Noelle. I had it kind of rough here, and I've been here for 4 years too. I say rough because, well, if I could give one advice, I would say if you're looking for housing, you want a really good place, I would say try to be in Berkeley to find it because it's really competitive here. Like housing is like it's like it flies off the charts. Like a lot of really good places, like you have like study abroad students coming in, people who are here temporarily. Like it's pretty insane. But it definitely really helps to like know people, or using the housing page on Facebook also really helps. Definitely, if you want to have an easier time, if you're really lucky, iHouse and graduate housing is also a really good option as well. I'd say also also decide what are your biggest priorities for housing. For instance, like how far do you want to live how far do you want to live from campus? What's your budget? Do you want a single room or a double room? I think also definitely being here for 4 years kind of helps me know where I wanted to live in Berkeley. So I live on the south side. I live like close to the freshman dorms, and I really like the area because it's like really well lit. There's always like a lot of people walking around. I felt very safe there, especially because sometimes I go home late at night, and I never really felt like I was in danger when I was walking home at night. But yeah, there's like a lot of options around Berkeley for where do you want to live. I think definitely like if you're looking for like a quiet area, the north side's really good. It's also really close to where all your classes are. I personally really like south side because I guess I don't want a place that's too quiet. South side also has better restaurants in my opinion, and they're also open really late because I think on north side they're open till like 9 p.m. and so I think that's like a little too early for me. Yeah,
so one thing that's new for next year is later on in your tour you'll see Shires Hall, and that's where our students have office space, but right across the courtyard there's like 18 rooms available, dorm rooms, and there's a few apartments that they have that not everyone knows about, but it's on our housing, it's on our new admit website under the FAQs under the housing tab. So just make note of that. And a lot of our students do live at the International House where we were last night. So if you're thinking about coming, apply early for housing if you're going to International House.
One question about deciding like where to live and distance from campus. How much time, do you spend your full day on campus? Do you meet with your team elsewhere? Do you really want to prioritize being close? Do you spend a lot of time in class? How does that break?
I think it kind of depends. Like, some people like to go home early. Maybe have dinner at home. Because saves money. But I really like being close because sometimes maybe I want to go home, like have dinner, and then easily go back on campus. Because I think some people commute like so far, and sometimes it's like it adds a bit of constraint when they need to have capstone team meetings. Like some people may be having at night, and I think I feel like if I live closer to campus, it removes a lot of those constraints. Like I don't have to feel like I have to go out of my way just to go back and forth. So yeah. And also I just like studying on campus. I feel like I don't really study well when I'm at home. So on the weekends, it's not a huge issue to just go to the library and just study there. Because I think for me to get to class is 15-20 minutes, and that's just by walking too. So. Yeah.
All right, Jay, since you lived here for 4 years, what would you say? Do you need a car?
No, absolutely not. There's a really good, you get a bus pass also, so all the buses that run through Berkeley are free for you. And also there's a campus truck/bus that moves students also, that comes every 15 minutes. So you should totally be fine. Actually, I've seen some of my friends get their car broken into, so I don't recommend it. But if you do, that's great. Yeah.
All right, next question, and then we'll open 2 more questions. We'll open it up to the audience. How do you maintain a school-life balance? As we've said, this is a really intense 9-month program. You're in, you study for 9 months, and you're out, and you graduate, and you go start working. So how do you maintain that life balance, Jay?
So it is a 1-year program, so you're going to be really busy. but comparing my student life as an undergrad compared to MEng life, it's not too different. A lot of undergrads here take about 2 to 3 technicals, 3 technicals being average, and some people take up to even 5. So for me, going from undergrad to MEng, it hasn't changed that much because I took 2 technicals and capstone that should count more than a 1 technical, and also some business classes, but you'll definitely have some free time during the week, and you're not going to be studying all the time, so it's good.
Okay, so talking about more of that balance, Katie is our social rep. So if you can just give a rundown of events that are coordinated throughout the year.
So we've done a couple small and big events throughout the year. So some of the ones have been doing pumpkin carving together. We go to trivia nights. We meet up at some bars. Every once in a while we did a bay cruise, basketball game, and some other ones that I'm forgetting off the top of my head right now. But they're just like small and big events that we do throughout the year. And then the Graduate Student Assembly here at Berkeley is also very good at planning events that we also join in on and just get together as a group.
Yeah, so there's plenty of opportunity for fun as well. So we're going to open up the Q&A to the audience. You guys can ask your questions. And if you could if you have a question directly for a student, just direct it towards them.
I have two. Oh, perfect. I have 2 questions for Jay. The first one, they're both regarding capstone. The first question that I have is the capstone project you're in right now the one that you wanted to get into before you joined the program? And then my second question is your current capstone project a continuation from a previous year, or is it a completely new one?
So for the first question, you're going to get to list out your preferences. Most people get first or second. I got my second because first one was canceled. So pretty much I got my first. I don't know. Most people get first, right?
I got my second choice because my first choice also got canceled.
Okay. Yeah, so you'll get what you want, basically. And answer to the second question, it was a continuation. So apparently, according to my advisor, last year's capstone didn't work too well. So we took on a lot of their continuing work. And our project actually isn't 100% complete per se. So we're going to pass on also the work, everything we've done. I don't know if that's the common case, but for my project, that was our work was continuing.
I have a question about housing. Do you know students who live in SF, and if so, does that detract from their experience?
Wait, sorry, what was the question again? But what was the last part? Does that...
Yeah, if you know students who live in SF, does that detract from their experience in the program?
Not necessarily SF. I know people who live as far as like Fremont. I think that's like more than an hour away from here. I definitely think that those people, we definitely don't really see them out in like social events on Friday nights or so. Because the commute, I mean, I can imagine it's pretty tiring already. And sometimes we stay out late. Like for those who live around Berkeley, like a lot of us stay out late. So, but then those who like live in Fremont, like that's not always like possible. So yeah.
And there are a couple MTM students who live in SF that commute here a couple times a week, and it is difficult for them. They have to catch the BART and then a bus to get here. So just depending on public transportation times in SF, I know the BART closes around midnight, that it is hard for them to stay out late to study or meet with capstone groups or even socialize. So it is very doable if you want to take that commute and just plan out your life ahead like that. But it is easier to live closer to campus.
In terms of work-life balance, Beth said that it was possible to take more electives than necessary. Is that something that you would recommend to or recommend not to do?
How many of you are taking extra classes? Okay.
Just me.
Well, how about you guys talk? Okay.
Me and Noel took the same schedule, basically, both semesters. We call it front-loading if you take extra classes during the fall semester. I think I started with 4 tech electives, dropped it down to 3, and then definitely would have wished if I only had done the 2. You definitely get, it's hard to pick throughout all the classes. There are so many different classes that are interesting and new, and you want to do all of them. But you get more out of it if you just focus on the 2. There is a lot of people who audit classes here at Berkeley. That's something that I came to realize is different from my undergrad. So going to audit classes or do like pass-fail in the ones that you think are also interesting is a better way to do it. But if you want to front load, feel free. You only have to take like 1 class during the spring. But then I took extras in this semester again too, so I don't know.
Also, Berkeley drop deadline is super late. It's
Yeah.
like a month or 2 months into the semester, so you can take a lot of classes and then decide which ones you want to drop.
Yeah, and then for auditing, it's not really official. You could just show up. Like for me, like I started showing up to a philosophy class, so it's nothing related to my major, but but all I do is show up, and if I'm too busy that week with capstone, I just don't go that week. So it's like I still get the experience of the philosophy class, but I'm not committed to the class.
Is it possible to take any technical courses in the summer before you get there to count towards the program?
Quick answer, no. There are multiple classes you can take during the summer. Like if you, there's some like additional like English language classes that some of our international students come early and take, but the majority of the technical classes aren't offered in the summer. They all start in fall, and so that's when we start.
I do want to mention for people who are in product design, I believe for the first time this summer they're offering interactive device design, which is usually offered in the fall. But in the fall, it's pretty competitive to get in. I think they only take like maybe 50 or less students. Like I applied and I didn't get in, unfortunately. But if you have time this summer, definitely I think this is a really good class to take. It's a class that I really, really want to take. I think it would have taught me a lot about like prototyping, which is a really valuable skill when you're in product design. But yeah, definitely. I think if you apply for summer, because there's not a lot of people in the summer, I think you'd have a better chance of taking that class.
So disclaimer, since you're officially enrolled students in fall, if you take classes over the summer here, you're not paying like Cal student fees, you're paying visitor fees, right? And if you're on an F1 visa, there's just a multiple gamut of things that you need to take in consideration for that. So, yeah.
So I have 2 questions. The first one would be on housing. I know that's very competitive and stuff. So what do you recommend for international students? I don't know if it applies to you guys, but it's important to know. And the second one is more on the courses you take. So depending on the capstone you select, I'm guessing that, or the question would be, do you receive any advice on what courses to take depending on what capstone you select?
So first question is, where should international students live? So yeah, iHouse is definitely a really good place to live because you live with not just grad students, but like study abroad. So study abroad students are always coming into iHouse. I don't live in iHouse personally, but I heard it's really fun to live in. Especially because when you're with study abroad students, they tend to be more like wanting to like explore California, like take advantage of long weekends to like go out and like go to Yosemite, go to Tahoe, because they you're here for a short time, so they kind of want to like get out more and not study too much. But actually, well, I didn't want to live in iHouse because I had a friend who lived there. He said he could never study there. So, but I heard it's better now. I guess. But
There are a lot of MN students that do live at iHouse. Another thing that they offer is meal plans. So all of you that don't want to have to cook and just walk down the stairs and eat, it's a good option.
What was the second question?
The second part of your question was?
It's related to the capstone. Like, you select your capstone, do they advise you to which technical courses take that kind of go around the capstone? Or?
It's dependent on the capstone project that you get into. Some of the advisors say, if you're in this project, I'll recommend that you take these additional classes. It's very rare that they'll make you enroll in like an extra technical class, but it is possible. But mainly, like when you apply for the capstone, they're going to make sure that you have the skill set to be able to succeed in that capstone in the first place.
We also pick our technical classes before we pick our capstones. So, yeah.
Yeah, I just had a question about the career search. When do you guys typically get that started? Is that during the fall semester when you guys really haven't spent that much time on campus yet, or is it spring semester?
I think it depends per major, but I know EECS gets caught up in fall. Most of them have job offers around then. For at least BioEs, our recruitment process starts later on in the springtime, but most of us started in the late fall for job applications. So I think like mid to late fall is when most of us start looking for jobs and going to career fairs and stuff.
And then that's after the capstone? Or sorry, before the capstone?
It's after we pick capstones, so like last fall. So this last fall we started, yeah.
I'd recommend starting early. I've met a lot of friends who get stressed looking for an internship or a job like later on in the spring semester, like now. But it's really good to start early because a lot of career fairs are starting in fall. And also you don't have to deal with, stress of looking for a work last minute.
Yeah, and then just go to the career fairs just to drop off your resume, because I've heard a lot of people who drop off their resume, they don't hear back from the company, and then like right before they graduate, they have an interview or a job offer. So just show up, learn about the companies, and it doesn't hurt to leave a resume.
Yeah.
So
And they'll go into more career questions at the career panel this afternoon. So you get another full hour of just career.
So I got a question about the car. Does any of you have the car right here?
Yeah.
Okay, so just wondering how hard to park the car right here.
So luckily my apartment has a garage. That was something that was like a deciding factor for me. I didn't want a street park. I didn't want my car to get broken into because I have a gated garage, so that makes me feel very safe. But so I brought my car in like August, and I think in the beginning it was a little awkward, like doing a lot of street parking because I wasn't really used to doing that. But I think, yeah, this semester I definitely got a lot more used to it. I feel like I feel a lot more comfortable driving Berkeley now because definitely in the beginning, like, I was really surprised, like, so I'm from, like, SoCal originally, and so, like, everyone has a car in SoCal, but, like, I was really surprised, like, roads here are really narrow, and then I kind of know where, like, good times, like, where's, like, okay to park, depending on, like, the time of day or, night and stuff. So like now I know like I should never drive around Frat Row on a Friday night because there's just so many people and no one really obeys the traffic laws there. I mean, the pedestrians. So I know where to avoid. Like it took a while, but I think I'm a lot better at it now. So. Do you have a permit? No, I don't because I have a garage. What?
You can get a permit for wherever you live. When you register your car in Berkeley, they'll give you a permit with a letter on it for the region that you live in. So when you walk around the streets of Berkeley, they'll have these little green signs that says permit I in this area or 2-hour parking. So that's how that works.
Mm-hmm. And if you have a car and you're commuting, so Berkeley campus lots are very like regulated. You have to live within outside a certain zone to be able to even access parking on campus. So that's something to consider when you decide where to live. Next question.
Yeah, so I have 2 questions for you because some of you all have been in Berkeley for quite some time. So what are some of the major challenges that you faced in Berkeley and specifically for the MEng program? And my second question for you is, how have the engineering leadership programs helped you in the industry specific?
So challenges with the program, and then what about the engineering leadership class work?
For me, I've been here for a while, so nothing was new for me. But regarding leadership, I learned a lot, like how to talk in public and how to present really well. Because when you're assigned to a capstone, you're also assigned to a practicum, where you're gonna give routine presentations almost every 2 to 3 weeks. And they even record you, and then they get feedback from other students, so you can really watch yourself present and then notice what you're doing wrong, what you're doing right. And there's also a communications course where they teach you how to present, voice, how to stand in front of the crowd, everything. So in terms of communications and presenting in front of people, you really, really improve, everyone in the program.
So I guess to answer your first question, I'm not really sure how to answer that. I guess because, like I said, I've been here for a long time. I kind of know my way around. I mean, I did engineering here as an undergrad, so I kind of knew how to get around here. But for the second question, I would say, so the class where they teach you communications for engineers, definitely, I think I got a lot of that class. That one taught me a lot about, how to do public speaking, how to write a good technical paper for, depending on who your audience is. I had taken like technical communications classes before, but I definitely learned a few good like new things here that like I never really thought of before. And I think it really also helps me be like a better team player, better team leader, and it definitely like really helps improve my public speaking skills as well. So, yeah.
To answer your question about challenges, for those of us that didn't go to Berkeley, there's two things that you guys should know. Your calves will burn because the hills are amazing here. And then there's this thing called Berkeley time that I definitely should have known about before I came to Berkeley. Classes that start at 10 don't really start at 10. They start at 10:10. Everything in Berkeley starts 10 minutes later than it actually starts. It makes no sense if you're not used to it. It'll be a struggle to get a hang of, but that's the one challenge in Berkeley that you will meet. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
It's so that you can go to class in time.
Because they block classes from 10 o'clock to 12, and the next 10 o'clock to 11:59, and the next class will start at 12. So, yeah, it's weird. I know.
There's a few different classes listed for technical electives in our packet. Are those the only ones that we can choose to fulfill those classes, and are those with other general master students and graduate students at Cal?
So the technical classes that are listed in that packet are the ones that the departments are offering next year. And you can ask more questions about those particular courses within the department spotlight later on this afternoon. But in terms of, are those the only classes you can take? No, you can take others. Like you can take technical classes outside of your department as well. So we have time for just a few more classes.
Right.
Questions.
I had two questions.
Okay.
For the technical electives, did you really feel like you're transferring the knowledge that you learned from the courses on towards the capstone project that you are in currently? Okay, could you answer that first question, please?
I think that really depends on a project. For me, it's a machine learning project, and I had taken artificial intelligence course and machine learning course as an undergrad, and I feel like those two are really, really relevant. But it really depends on a capstone. I feel like a lot of the courses will relate to the capstone, but I don't know about other majors.
Yeah, for me, it was mostly the communication course that helped me because a lot of times you're pitching your project to a non-technical audience, and when you're like for me, when I'm trying to explain fetal surgery to like a business person, I have to know how to like speak in very simple terms to them. So communication has been very helpful. And a lot of times the courses aren't related, but that's okay because your capstone might not be what you end up doing in your final career.
And some of them are related as well. So like bringing medical devices and clinical needs for our project as well. We didn't learn directly about fetal surgery, but a lot of the cardiovascular devices are very relatable to what we're doing. So we took those ideas and transferred them into what our application is.
Right. I was asking because I looked up the student handbook, but then I realized we only have very few pool of courses that we can choose from. So we have like maybe 6 or 7 courses, but then we can, like 4 courses, but then we can take like 2 out of that per semester. So I thought maybe we have a bit few courses that we can choose from. So that's why, like, what do you guys think about that? Did you guys think about like?
I think you have to take 4 out of, or 2 each right. semester out of those lists, but you can always take extra.
But on top of that, right?
Yeah, okay. I've seen in my undergrad, like some of my friends took like 4 or 5, which I think is a little too much, but if you want challenge, you can always take on
right.
extra.
And
right.
then drop them.
Yeah.
Right, thank you.
Okay. Question down here, and then
Did any of you have industry experience before you started the MEng program, or know anyone who did? And can you comment on how someone with industry experience finds the leadership and team classes?
We have a couple older people in our group who, not more experienced people in our group,
Thank you.
who worked in quality control or some accounting backgrounds, and one of them was also in the Army, who also worked in the Army for a while. I think out of like everyone in our group, they're the most like engaged in our leadership classes. I think they relate to them more because they've seen them in their workplace and actually argue with Alex sometimes about how we teach the leadership, which is actually a good thing because we get both perspectives, and it kind of like molds our curriculum down the line.
Okay. Next question? Yeah, we have time for a few more before we go to lunch.
Thank you. I have just a quick question. How safe the campus is? And then sort of like after when you shouldn't really be walking along on the street?
Definitely if you can, if you're going to be out late, have someone to like walk back with you. Kind of like, I guess depending on who you're with, kind of know like if you guys are going in the same direction. I mean, Uber is also readily available too if you don't want to walk home. We also have a service called Bear Walk, which is like, I've never used it personally, but I heard it's really good. Like basically someone like, some kind of officer, someone kind of like walks you home. They accommodate you to go home because like their job is basically to keep you safe. So yeah. But yeah, definitely try to like not walk alone. Like I have a couple times which I don't recommend, but that was because I was really desperate and I don't like paying for Uber. So there were a couple times like at night though, like because I have a car, sometimes I would drive to Shires and on the weekend or so or at night because parking is free at that time. So that has also definitely helped me. Like I would stay late and then it was just really easy to drive back as well. So yeah.
And safety is one of the bad things about Berkeley, but if you really keep an eye out, utilize Bear Walk and utilize campus shuttles that run till like 3 a.m. and also know to avoid People's Park if you're going to walk at like 3 a.m., then you should be fine. I never met anyone who got, my 4 years here, I've never met anyone who got mugged or anything like that.
But so. I have. I know. Basically, don't listen to music late at night and try to surround yourself. Kind of know where to avoid. Like he mentioned, People's Park is definitely you don't want to be around there if you're going to be out late at night, especially if you're by yourself. Yeah, it's just really and like I've heard cases of people like they were on their laptop on the bus stop and then like the laptop got taken away. So it's like, just kind of be aware of your surroundings, just, keep an eye out. It's all about really being cautious. So
this is a general city thing though. Like, this happens in every city.
Yeah.
You just need to be aware that you are going to be in a city area. So yeah, just general stranger danger.
All right, I have a question regarding why did you choose to do the graduate program versus going out to work? Like, what things that you considered making that decision?
For me, it was delaying time because I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I was like, grad school sounds like a good idea to figure out one more year to figure out what I wanted to do and really try my hands at different things. And now I know what I want to do, so it worked out.
I'm like the same.
So I interned before I came here, so I was interning at a heart valve company. So when I worked there, I saw that people tend to move up the ranking ladder a lot faster when they have their master's degree. So I thought I had just graduated. I was like, if I get it now, I will move up faster. Plus, you get more experience, so you'll be better at your job.
It's kind of the same for me. Like I mentioned, I did my undergrad in chemical engineering, and I think halfway through my undergrad, I knew this is not what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. So I knew I wanted to go back to school and study something different because I was more, as an ME right now, I was definitely more excited about like this kind of field. So I thought that it was a good decision to go back to school before I started working.
Okay. Well, question: how much time is it typically preferred that you stay on campus to do work with capstone and other courses? And what are the resources that aren't available off campus?
Wait, how long should you stay on campus?
Yeah, and say if there are computer labs that have softwares that that's required by the project, you need to be there or anything like that.
So I know those software facilities, at least for, I mean, I don't know what it's like for for computer science students. I think it's open 24/7 for them. But I know for like in Jacobs Hall, I think they're open till like 8 p.m. maybe. But it kind of, I mean, you can kind of stay on campus for however long as you want. Like, I mean, I only see my capstone advisor like once a week. A lot of it, like, I work from home, you know, so yeah, it kind of just depends, I think. I mean, sometimes like a lot of us, like especially people in like product design, we have to work in Jacobs Hall a lot to do like, you know, like all the fancy stuff there. But you know, it kind of just depends, I think, because like, you know, Jacobs Hall, like there's also a lot of people, so you have to like wait for like an instrument to open up. So it kind of just really depends. Yeah.
Also, regarding software, there's Berkeley Software Central, where you can download any Microsoft Word, Microsoft Office packages. And there's also MATLAB available. I think SolidWorks is also available. So you can download those for free on your PC. And also, if that's not an option for you, there's also campus computers that have SolidWorks, MATLAB, whatever you need. As long as it's not super specific, it'll be there for you.
Okay, and last question.
Okay. Hi, I'm an international student, and I have this question about the American grad school system. So MN students have to maintain some sort of minimum GPA to graduate. So exactly how does grading happen? Does it happen on the basis of assignments, or are there exams happening every semester, or exactly how does that work?
I think it depends on every single class that you take. Every professor will weigh things differently, but you can get graded on your homework assignments, attendance, quizzes, exams. So, or in projects, it kind of just depends on the professor and what they want to do.
And in case of capstone projects, how does that work? Do you get graded on capstone projects?
Yeah, so your capstone project, you'll be graded, and it's based, depending on which experience you decide to take next year, like if it's a traditional capstone course, you'll be graded based on the deliverables that you and your capstone advisor agree upon. So it's their expectations of you and what you set out to do. So I wanted to thank the panel for coming up here and sharing your experience.
Joy for leading the panel. A couple other points. I wanted to add that a lot of the boot camp case discussion, you are graded on participation, so that's a new thing for some people. So you want to prepare to be value add in the classroom. And then the second thing is, as part of our campus tours, we are making a stop at the Jacobs Institute. So they have a lot of maker spaces, and they'll give us a quick tour of that if you choose to do the tour with Jen and myself. So next up is lunch. Yay! So if you need to freshen up, the restrooms are actually right out of this door, and we're split up for lunch. So if you're in these 4 departments, Civil, EECS, Nuclear, or Bio-E, you're going to go to the lobby of the Hearst Memorial Building. So Janae over there and Julie waving their hands, they can lead a group up to Hearst. It's right past the grassy area up over this way, Hearst Mining Building. And then if you're MSE, Mechanical, or IUR, you're lucky you're right here in Gabarini Lounge where we had breakfast. You'll have lunch there. And then after lunch, it's either your case tour or spotlight. See you then. Thanks.
Just, this is like workout.